Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. We are going to start with section 4 from this webinar. And this topic is about the valorization strategies to reduce food loss and waste. I will ask all the speakers to keep the time. And we are going to start with our keynote, that is Professor Maria Beatriz Oliveira, that is a full professor at Faculty of Pharmacy of Porto. She develops research in food science with focus on food security, and her research group is concerned in adding value to byproducts of food industries, mainly on olive and coffee production chain. So, Professor Beatriz, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. And the floor is yours. You have 20 minutes for your communication.
Yes. Are you seeing my presentation?
Not yet, Professor.
So, let's chat where? Compartilhar.
Yes, just not in presentation mode.
Yes, you see?
Yes, but not in presentation mode.
Oh, I think it's in presentation mode.
For us, no.
No.
Not yet.
I don't understand. Compartilhar. And now?
Yes, now it's okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Good morning. Thank you for your invitation to present my work about valorization of byproducts, the case of olive pomace. I'm talking you from the north of Portugal, the city of Porto, from University of Porto, and more specifically from the Faculty of Pharmacy, where this work was developed. Why to think in strategies to reduce food loss and waste? Because, first of all, we need to attain food security. That does mean availability of foods for all. Nowadays, this is in risk with several concerns, namely due to environmental problems. Everybody knows and see in the TV the problems related with climatic change, loss of arable land, depletion of resources. For example, Portugal is in risk of drought. So there are a lot of problems with environmental concerns to be looked and find solutions. Another problem is the increase of old population. So more people, more food needed. But with the environment problems, need will be not enough for all. Nowadays, we see consumers like us with a lot of food to choose and spend and loss, and another of other people without food to eat. If they have one dish a day is good. So there are a lot of changes, challenges to change this situation. Another point is the natural disasters and wars. Now we are living wars, and natural disasters occurs everybody. In consequence, soil are degraded, water is reducing its amounts, and there are places where it's not possible to produce crops. Forests are destroyed by different factors, namely fires, with the climatic change, and fauna is also extincting. More than 50% was not found. Another situation is the landfill. Many, 1/3 of food produced goes to landfill or open dumpsters without valorization, with negative impacts, namely emission of toxic gases, risk of spreading diseases, pollution of groundwater, increase of greenhouse effect, namely with incineration, and more important, loss of phytochemicals of high nutritional value. This situation is applied for loss of food loss that go to landfill or open dumpsters, but also for byproducts. This is an example of coffee byproducts, or olive pomace, also a byproduct from the production of olive oil. To fight against this loss, EPA developed a wasted food scale with the most preferred process to prevent wasted food to the least preferred. So we need prevent wasted food, producing, buying, and serve only with what is needed, and avoid to send food to landfill or dumpsters. So it is still critical that food waste prevention is maintained as a top priority. We must synchronize harvesting with the processing or put the product in the market, avoiding loss and wasted food. If the food is not accepted in the market, we must donate it, namely to food banks that give this material, these foods to people that need. Also, we can waste to feed. What does mean convert this wasted food in feed to eat animals? Is also good, because animals that eat this wasted food do not eat other foods that we can use in food, in our consumption, in human consumption. Also, you can use compost and utilization of these products in the soil to fight against degraded soils. And the last step will be landfill. I will focus my presentation in food upcycling, one of the most environmentally friendly way to mitigate food waste. As you can see, upcycling, responding to environmental sustainability and taking in attention economic sustainability, can recovery wastes can use different resources, helping to attain food security. It's important to know that technology should contribute to sustainable production and to reduce food loss and waste. I give you two examples that insects, the development of insects that eat some of the waste products or byproducts, and sustainability as a good process transform it in food, in protein. And also technology interfere in the pea protein that is a product with many limitations in the past, but now is surpassing all the steps and now is spread in a lot of products. Is also to mention that an integrated strategy of agrarian research, economics, law, political and social science is needed. We need to be in together to solve this problem. What we understand by upcycled foods are products that have ingredients that would not have otherwise been consumed by humans. I give you some examples of startups and companies that develop work in this type of products. This is the case in USA. From two-rip bananas makes snacks like chips, bites, and scoops. And to turn coffee, I'm grounded, the turned coffee into coffee fruit into energy bars. There are companies very important that upcycle to foods, avoiding is loss. Another example I can give you is a new crop, sweet potato. It's a crop that develop in poor soils, can protect degraded soils, and besides the use of tubers, the sweet potato, we can use the leaves. And this crop is tolerant to drought, salinity, and other negative edapoclimatic conditions. The advantage of the use of leaves, they have a good nutritional content with high protein content and all the essential amino acids, low fat content with a good fatty acid profile, and high content of insoluble fiber. In other way, we can harvest 2 times the leaves without affecting the production of the sweet potato. Another examples are valorization of wild fruits, namely Crataegus monogyna, Rosa canina, Arbutus unedo, that can be eaten in nature with a lot of benefic effects, but also can be processed and consumed along the year. Another situation, another strategy is the study sherry steam is used in infusions to prevent urinary tract infections. And why not produce a functional drink with these effects, namely sedative, diuretic, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant, valorizing an byproduct and not wasted food, but resulting from the food. And an example of our case, olive pomace, a product very important in Portugal because we produce a lot of olive oil. This is the main byproduct from the olive oil chain. When you produce 1 kilo of olive oil, we have at least 4 kilos of olive pomace. And this olive pomace, after producing olive oil, is fresh olive pomace, and after is transported to pools to be stored along the year and processed. And the processed give us the extracted olive pomace. And these are two raw materials that we used in our studies, namely the fresh olive pomace. We have obtained an extract that was incorporated in a vegetable cream. Why the importance of this fresh olive pomace and this extract? It is rich in hydroxytyrosol, an antioxidant very well quoted in the market, and associated to antioxidant and benefic effects in health. So we developed a vegetable cream. Probably we can use the claim of health claim, because hydroxytyrosol is present in levels that allow this use in olive oil. Also, we incorporate the fresh olive pomace in a pasta, obtaining with a product with improved nutritional value. Also, it was incorporated in biscuits. We also formulated a salty topping, also due to the levels of hydroxytyrosol, with a possible allegation that a functional product. And also we incorporate these byproducts in a olive pate. This incorporation is about 25% with acceptation, with a good acceptation from consumers, and more accepted than a control sample present in the market. Taking attention, also cosmetic is also involved in health and well-being of the people. We develop moisturizing mask with a good performance comparing with commercial similar products. The results give us the European patent and granted European patent and European patent also in United States, using this fresh olive pomace and the extract to produce a spread cream. Taking attention the sensorial characteristics of this product, we performed a fermented
Professor, you have 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay, I'm in the end. We promoted the fermentation of this byproduct, obtaining a novel foodstuff nutritionally balanced and microbiologically safe. Is also patent submitted. With olive pomace, extracted olive pomace, we also have granted patent in an European patent and an USA patent, with extract enriched in hydroxytyrosol to different applications. This patent was licensed to one spin-off of OP, and are preparing the scale-up of the patent and preparing the product to attain the market. And another example how use valorization of byproducts to solve the problems, environmental problems and food security. We use olive pomace with other byproducts and developed a base of cosmetic use that can be used to produce shampoos, creams, masks, conditioners, also as a patent submitted to evaluation. Nevertheless, we have a lot of products, but we have not the answer from the business and the companies to accept these products, and a lot of barriers maintains and difficult this sustainable development. It is strategies to valorizations of these wastes, but we must continue fighting against this situation. This product only was possible because I have a good team, the girls, especially girls, because men don't like us, I don't know, but we are very happy, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Beatriz, for this amazing presentation and so many results. So we are going to move to the second speaker, Monica Gutierrez. She's a researcher at the Sustainable and Efficient Processes for Food Industry Department in AZTI. Monica has more than 20 years experience in environmental research related to water treatment technologies and liquid solid side streams valorization and upcycling. And she is representing today New Feed Project. Monica, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay. 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 So I'm going to present a New Feed project that is entitled Valorization of grape stem and as a functional ingredient in ruminant diets. New Feed project started on 2021 and will end next year. This is a this project is funded by Prima project, and here you can see the partnership. There are 4 countries: Spain, Greece, Egypt, and Turkey. Okay. The overall objective is to increase the Mediterranean livestock sustainability by valorizing local food industry byproducts and reducing the dependence of the foreign materials for animal feed production. For this purpose, 3 value chains are being validated in this project: the grape stem byproducts for ruminants feed, orange peel as ingredient for ruminants also, and olive cape as improved feed ingredient for poultry feed. Here you can see the value chain with the New Feed project. This is a focus on all value chain, from the raw material generation, the raw material and the byproducts generation, the logistic valorization of these byproducts, the feed production, animal feed trials, and the final consumer acceptance. And today I'm going to present, well, here you can see the work package, and today I'm going to present only the optimization of the valorization scheme and the validation of feed trials. Here you can see the valorization from the raw material generation. This is the grape stem and all the steps. In this video, you can see this. Yes, this is a circular economy solution. The three main case studies, but the same idea, okay? Oof. Sorry, this is not the video. I have one, sorry. Wow. Well, it's a pity. Sorry. Okay, so the following steps were the feeding trials and well, the feed production and the animal feed trials. In the first case, with the dairy sheep trials. So the first step was the sheep feed formulation. We have three formulas. The first is a control, the normal and conventional feed formulation. The second one is the grape stem. And the third one is the use of hydrolyzed grape stem. And here in the table, you can see the ingredients. All of the new ingredients was added on the based on the nutritional value and the digestibility. And here you can see the main results. The feed efficiency trial was made with 36 days and 150 days of performance. In the first part, you can see the dry matter intake that is very similar with the three different formulas. Even the milk yield is very, very similar, even slightly higher in the case of grape stem ingredient. And the milk composition is more or less the same. The other part that we analyzed was the methane emissions resulting in the milk production. And as you can see, this is more or less the same for three of the cases. And finally, the milk sensory analysis by a group of consumers with a curd was the result was that they cannot distinguish between curds from the conventional feed trials or the new ingredient. The following step was the feed formulation and animal feed with dairy cattle trials. Again, we made the feed formulation for the control and grape stem formulation. You can see here. And here are the results. In that case, we made the test with 20 dairy bottles during 120 days. The intake was better in the case of grape stem ingredient added in the final formulation, but the milk yield was very, very similar. In the case of milk composition, well, protein, lactose, and crude fat were very similar, but the fatty acids are better in the case of the new ingredient. So the resulting milk was healthier than the other, slightly. In the case of methane emissions, is more or less the similar. This, you can see this is more or less better than the control, but it's slight. And again, the correlate sensory analysis gives the same results the previously, and consumers cannot distinguish between two difference of correlates. So the main conclusion are that the new food project designed, test, and validated the full scheme for the valorization of wine byproducts for ruminant feeds to transform it into valuable proteins, in this case milk. The effect of 10% of inclusion of grape stem ingredient, both in dairy sheep feed or dairy cattle feed, are more or less the same. They don't affect final results. In the case of dairy cattle, the milk, the resulting milk have fatty acids profile was healthier one for human consumption. And finally, consumers cannot distinguish between curlies produced with milk obtained by both ruminants that consuming 10% of a grape stem ingredient or the control without this ingredient. And this is all. You can find more information about the project, not only this case study, but the rest of them in this web page, or you can contact with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica, so much. It was really interesting. And as I work also with the grape stems, I was really interested in your communication, and in the roundtable I will talk. So
okay,
let's move on. Thank you. Let's move on to the next speaker. It's Estelle Gour. She holds a MSc in biotechnology from Polytech Marseille and is working as project acquisition coordinator at BioBase Europe pilot plant. Stell sets up European units with project proposals and supports several funded projects in industrial biotechnology like Waste2Funk, which is representing today. So Stell, thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you everyone for the invitation and the opportunity to talk. I will try to share my screen now. Let me know if you see my screen. I think you have the wrong side.
It was okay, not only in the mode presentation.
Yeah, and now?
No, we don't see anything.
It should be great now.
Yes, now it's great. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So hello everyone. So my name is Estelle, and I will present you indeed the Waste2Funk project, from food waste to microbials, biosurfactants and lactic acid. A lot has been tackled already since this morning, so a really great intervention from everyone. So I will quickly go on the presentation of my company just to make sense of what we do, and then dive into the projects and basically the results of it. So if I can click on the next slide, yes. So BioBase Europe pilot plant is a multi-purpose pilot facility for process development, scale-up and custom manufacturing for bio-based product and processes. What's the important thing to remember here is that those facilities, the open access facilities like that, enable startups, SMEs or big corporations to go faster and let's say stronger into entering the bioeconomy because they don't need to invest themselves because they have us and they can then produce quite easily and faster their bioprocesses. And what you need to remember is that we like to call ourselves a one-stop shop because we onboard a lot of different biomasses and we go for different kind of refined products. But always we go through biocatalysis or fermentation or green chemistry towards a valorization from biomass to the product. And here the global picture of what we can onboard and what we can produce, but the project Waste to Funk is really focusing on food waste and producing biochemicals. Just a small picture to make you aware that we are not a research center. We are really going beyond. So we go from production of grams to tons. So it's really, Professor Beatrice Oliveira mentioned it earlier on, the scale up. So we really focus on higher TRL to produce enough materials to prove the concept, but also to produce products in order to enter the market. So that's quite nice. And for that, you also need a lot of people. So just wanted to congrats all my colleagues that are behind those projects. We collaborate in two different kind of projects, the bilateral projects that are highly confidential, and I cannot talk about it, unfortunately. But the public projects are really the ones where we can communicate around and where we build our expertise and where also we connect the value chains that we tackle when we have European projects. And to dive into the details of Waste to Funk, so it's definitely the valorization of industrial and agricultural food waste feedstocks into lactic acid and biosurfactants. A lot have been already said around the food waste this morning in this excellent webinar, so I will not dive into too much detail, but we focus mainly on everything except households. So primary production, food processing, wholesale and retail and food service are still quite important in the food waste part. And the challenges of bringing them together to have a strong supply chain for valorization. Well, there's a lot of challenges. They are scattered, they are not continuously available, there is no guarantee on volumes. That has been said already this morning. So that was one big part of the project, to bring them together, or at least to make sure that there is a supply chain behind. And this other part of the project was really to focus on the production of lactic acid and biosurfactant that are actually present everywhere in your daily life. You can find them back in shampoo, laundry, toothpaste, and so on. So we really wanted to target customer care products. And our project is really based on going above the classical biorefinery concept. So as you may know, it's already quite nice to already go to valorization of bio-waste through biogas. So that's the actual biorefinery that is ongoing at the moment at some places. And we wanted to build on this model to expand and go to the novel biorefinery, to go for fermentation processes to produce higher value molecules, so lactic acid and surfactants, to then formulate it into end products and then circle back into the customer application. For that, we base the project on a lot of different companies and players, but the important thing to remember here is that we had a strong network in Belgium, because the application was on the food waste of Belgium to valorize them, and the technology owner were also based in Belgium, so that's really one strong pillar. And the other pillars really, I will dive into that later for the lactic acid and the biosurfactants. But that's maybe the only thing that you need to remember from this slide. So as I said, there was three pillars: the supply chain, the lactic acid, and the biosurfactants. Not only for the lactic acid and the biosurfactant to have the proof of concept, but really to go beyond, to really have a TRL 7 at the end of the project, which is nearby because it's in November. So that's really the end goal of this project, is to have a supply chain and valuable chemicals at the end that are relevant for the market. On the supply chain line, well, basically throughout those years of projects, there were a lot of inputs from the farmers. The Boerenbond player really helped us on getting those for the project. There were a lot of input from the technology owners, because basically they need to share their requirements in order to valorize the feedstock. Also from the food processor, because I mean there are really intermediaries that have a lot of food waste, and from the waste collectors as well, because they also are facing some challenges. So from all of that, we try to develop a registration and collection system. Throughout the project, the scope evolved, and now the end goal will be a deliverable in November, where Group of the Bake, so that has been bought by Darling Ingredients, will deploy a tool for them to really have scattered feedstock to be able to be collected. So that's quite nice to hear on supply chain line in Belgium. For lactic acid, well, again, it's really closing the loop from waste to a valuable product, and the project really focused on upscaling the pretreatment and the production and the purification of lactic acid, and then going to formulation with EcoVer. Some nice results, because that did happen, and a lot of optimization on yield and purification were made. Quite a nice point as well was the building of the demo plant in the port of Antwerp. So that's really an achievement that's helped us to reach the TRL 7. And on the biosurfactant line, basically it's the same approach, but with different kind of technologies, but the waste was the same. The pretreatment was developed by us and Amphastar and the University of Hong Kong. Then fermentation, purification was really important to improve the production of the biosurfactant. And the biosurfactant was then formulated into different products by Evonik and EcoVer. So the result that I can share, and at least some pictures to really show you that a lot of work has been made on the food waste to be able to be the food of the bugs, let's say, in order to go for the fermentation and the upscaling of the technology. So a lot of 150 liters fermenters were run, and enough materials were produced, like lactic acid, to reach a first of a kind product launched by EcoVer last May. So that's quite an achievement for the project. Throughout the results, demo plant was built, the waste processing hall was built also at our place, and enough material on the 2 lines were able to be made to launch a prototype. So that's really, we are proud of that. So if you want to go check it out, you definitely can. I will put the link in the chat later on. And I just wanted to highlight that we also made a video that I don't have the time to show you today, but we wanted to strengthen the bioeconomy narrative behind that, because we see that a lot of difficulties of understanding the challenges and the outcomes of our projects are more and more raising by the customers. So we try to make a nice video out of it, and I really encourage you to go see it. And just to conclude really fast, there is only 5 months to go. So really it's the finalization of the project, and almost everything has been done, but it's only the beginning. So definitely the end of this year will be the end of this project, but we have the nice news that there will be 2 continuation projects, one focus really on the biosurfactant line, and 1 flagship by FLW that will build a facility in Europe to valorize the lactic acid line. So we are quite happy to share this big news. Amphastar and SurfSup started the project in May, and the Circle flagship will start in September. So that's basically it for us. And I wanted to thank all my partners, and again, thank you for the invitation, because that's quite nice to share those results with you.
Thank you, Estelle, for this interesting presentation and a new approach for the valorization. And it's very good to see that it's not the end, but it's just the beginning. So thank you so much. And we are going to move on to the next speaker, is Professor Miguel Rodrigues. Is an associate professor from the University of Trás-os-Montes and Alto Douro, and his main area of interest is in animal science. I don't know if Miguel is here, because he had
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, here. Yes. So thank you, Miguel. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Good morning to everybody. I'll try to share everybody seeing the?
Not in mode presentation, Miguel.
No?
You have the first and the second slide.
Okay.
Maybe it's better to stop sharing and
Yeah.
share again.
Okay. Let me just.
No, just close and
Yes,
share again.
I'm trying to close everything. Okay, you're not seeing anything, right?
Yes, we are seeing your screen.
My screen, okay.
Now
Still,
just put in mode presentation.
now it's not?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Vá aos 3 pontinhos
Yes, I'm
e
trying.
tira o apresentador.
I'm trying to. Now?
No, nothing.
Show the presentation
Yes, I'm trying to
Show.
do it.
when the first approach. You need compartilhar.
Miguel, it's just to share and share the
Yes, I know.
PowerPoint.
The problem is that I have 3 monitors and now they are jumping between each other. That's the main issue. Just a moment. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's not in PowerPoint mode.
Yes, I know.
In the first, you have 2 points. No.
Mhm.
Miguel, do you want that we move on to David and after we come back?
Probably, and I will try to fix this. Thank you.
Yes?
Yes,
So,
yes.
David, are you available for talk now so that
Yes,
we don't lose time? Yes. So
yes,
thank you
yes,
so much.
I'm
So we
here.
are going to move the presentation from Miguel and we are going to the presentation and communication from David Fangueiro. And David Fangueiro is an associate professor from the Higher Institute of Agronomy in Lisbon, Portugal. So David, thank you so much for accepting this invitation and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here today to show you my part of the work that we are doing at ESA with all my team, including Paula Ringer, Mariana Mota, Fateme, Maria João, and Stamatis. So I will try to quickly give you an overview of the context. So obviously it's based on the attempt to minimize the waste from the food stream. But we also have another issue is that some of these residues are creating some environmental issues. So we will try in this approach at ESA to reuse the very last residues. So I mean that after trying to extract all that we can from these residues, we will try to use it in 2 different approaches. The first one will be to use it as additives for animal manures. Animal manures are a very important source of nutrients and organic matter, but they also have some issues, namely gaseous emissions. So we will try to use it as additives to modify the pH of these animal manures, namely slurries, the most liquid residues. And the second approach is to use directly some of these waste residues from the agro-food industry and apply it to the soils to see if we can have some benefits in terms of agronomic effects. So we try to identify some interesting byproducts from different industries, from different activities, and we reach this short list. So we will use byproducts from yeast industry, and in yeast industry, we obtain basically two different subproducts. One is liquid, what we call here yeast number one, and a second one that is more solid, that we will call here yeast number two. And then we move to aquaculture, where we have residues, namely the shells, and here we will use especially the oyster shells. Then moving to cheese factory. Cheese factory is producing large volumes of effluents, and in this case we will use three different effluents. The three different effluents are different in terms of dry matter content, so it will be challenging to identify which ones are the best in terms of soil amendment. Finally, and I finish with these ones, some byproducts from bars and restaurants, and here we will use orange peels, use fresh or after drying, and also spent coffee. So the first thing to do, obviously, was to characterize these materials. Here, I bring you some numbers. That's lots of numbers. So I will not give you the detail of all these characteristics. I will only highlight that some of these, or most of the materials that we have here, are rich in nitrogen. Nitrogen is obviously a key element in plant nutrition, but there's always a but. We also have high concentrations of some elements like sodium that might not be so interesting in terms of agronomic effects. So the second approach that we started to study was the potential modification of the pH of animal slurry. So the reason here is to try to minimize the environmental impact of these animal slurries, namely ammonia. Just to give you an idea of the relevance of ammonia emissions from animal slurry, close to between 80 and 90% of the total ammonia emissions in Portugal are coming from the animal slurry management. So it's really a priority to decrease these ammonia emissions. And a simple way to minimize these ammonia emissions is to decrease the pH of the slurry. The most used solution consists in adding sulfuric acid to reach a pH of 5.5, but obviously the farmers are not happy by using concentrated sulfuric acid. That's something, first, it's a dangerous project. We need to have some trained staff to manage it. And second, we may have some side effects by using this sulfuric acid. So we need some new additives to reach these pH of 5.5. Some recent studies in our group show that if we reach a pH of 5, we also have a sanitizing effect of the slurry. That is also of interest if we want to use the slurry for other applications than normal crops. On the opposite side, if we increase the pH, it is known that by increasing the pH higher than 9.5, we have also a sanitizing effect. So basically, what we tried to do with our residues was to add it to some slurry and observe what's the effect of these residues on the pH of our slurry. Quickly, what we observe is that the orange peels, when we apply it to dry, can decrease significantly the pH of our slurry. But when we try to increase the pH of the slurry to a pH close to 9.5, we were not successful with the products that we use. in this stage of the research. So we have some promising results with some of the products, not so much with other ones, but we will continue to see if we can improve or slightly modify some of these residues to modify the pH of the slurry. Now moving to the direct application of these residues as soil amendments. This part of the work is ongoing. So we started with the assessment of nitrogen availability for the plants after soil application, and the reason for that is that some of the materials can immobilize the nitrogen. So we need to check if with time we will have a release of this nitrogen. Then we started also some studies regarding ecotoxicity of these materials, because most of them are not currently used as soil amendments. So we need to understand what might be the impact on the soil, but also on water. We will then run some leaching experiments just to be sure that we are not increasing the risk of nitrate or phosphate leaching. And finally, we have some pot experiments and also some field experiments to assess the plant nutrient availability, and so to understand if we have an increase of the greenhouse gas emissions after soil applications of these materials, as well as of the slurry treated by pH modification. So, as I told you, we just finished this study of the potential increase of plant nitrogen availability. It's a short-term incubation. You have here the details regarding the methodology. And what we observed was basically that in most of the products, we have a release of some nitrogen after 7 days. So that's a positive point. It means that we will not have permanent immobilization of nitrogen, except in one of the treatments. I will not go in details with all these treatments. Fortunately, we don't have enough time for this, but just to say that some products might be very important to store some nitrogen in the soil. In a way, we don't want to release all the nitrogen at the same time, so we can have a slow releasing material that is also of interest to avoid nitrate losses by leaching. And some of these products combined with mineral fertilizers show that it's possible to combine both without any decrease of nitrogen availability. We started also the assessment of the potential phytotoxicity. Here, two different approaches: direct bioassays to evaluate the habitat function, and indirect bioassays, namely to evaluate the effect on the soil retention function. All this work is still ongoing, and I hope to be able to show you some results over the next months. So after these first months of work, we can draw some preliminary conclusions, and the first strong conclusion is that orange peels have a strong potential for slurry bioacidification and salinization, and we will give priority over the next weeks to continue working with this material. We also show that the residues from the yeast industry have a good potential to provide nitrogen, but we have some concerns regarding ecotoxicological tests. And finally, the oyster shells that is used to increase soil pH, unfortunately, is not so efficient to increase slurry pH, so we will continue to work on this. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy to answer some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I just forgot to say that David is representing the WASTELESS project, just like Miguel. Thank you so much for your interesting presentation. Now we are moving to Miguel. I think
Okay, let's
that
make a try.
we'll make a try, but we really need to apologize, Miguel, and thank his effort to be here today, because Miguel is with COVID and is making an effort to be present and do this presentation. So Miguel, thank you so much for that.
What
And
are you seeing now?
Yes, not we see the first and the second slide, but I think that we can
And
move on.
now?
Now it's not in PowerPoint in mode presentation, but it's okay if you
It's
want
okay.
to.
So it's the best I
Yes,
can do, because I have
yes,
to
it's the
disconnect
best.
all the
It's
monitors.
okay.
So
Okay.
let's
Thank you,
give
Miguel.
it a try. Okay.
Okay,
So
thank you.
thank you first of all for the invitation. I'll try to be as synthetic as possible. And I've been asked to talk a little bit about what we are doing within the Wasteless project regarding work package 5, that mainly is concerned with utilization of different kinds of residues or byproducts coming from food loss and food wastes in order to create added value products that we can use in different areas of both pharmaceutical connections, both from the cosmetic or from direct utilization as possible nutraceuticals. And also, we are also trying to create or to develop value-added products that can be used as new foods or ingredients that can be added to new types of foods. And so basically what we're trying to do is to utilize some of the functional properties and the bioactive compounds that are present on these byproducts that we are studying in order to valorize them and introduce them in terms of circular economy. So I think that a lot has been being said in these last 2 days regarding the food loss and the food waste and its quantification, but nevertheless, I'd like to give you a number that if we transform these food loss and wastes into kilocalories, they represent more or less around 24 to 25% of our metabolizable energy needs. And I'm talking about humans. So that means that around 600 kilocalories are wasted or lost every day. And so when we are using the deadline of 2050 in order to increase our production, in order to be more effective in the production of more food for humans, perhaps we should be realizing a different kind of structured idea that probably will also need to decrease a substantial amount on what we're doing with the food that we are producing. So basically, work package 5 deals with strategies that can increase the generated value that comes from these residues or from these waste streams that would otherwise be lost. And I will not be talking about the whole work package, but mainly on some of the already practical results that we have already obtained. And so here you have 2 studies. Anna, are you still seeing it well? Yes.
Yes, Miguel, it's
Probably,
okay.
okay.
Yes,
Okay.
it's okay.
We have two studies that have already been published, and we used here 2 different kinds of byproducts or co-products, if you want. One of them comes from the winery byproducts from the Down region, and basically we decided to use some of the residues coming from the winery, basically pruning firewoods and steams and leaves, in order to evaluate the concentration of bioactive compounds as well as their antioxidant properties. And a third item that it was evaluated was the natural alternative that they present, as they can be used as antimicrobial compounds. And we did exactly the same thing on another different study in which we used a spent mushroom substrate coming from the production of lentinulae at Dodge. And so we used that substrate trying to evaluate the phenolic content, the relationships between these phenolic contents, and the antioxidant capacity, and we also evaluated their potential to be used as a antibacterial effect or compound. I should stress that on the second study, we use different kinds of methodologies to prepare the extracts in order to select the most appropriate or the most effective one. And so when we look at the processing, and I'll try to skip this a little bit, basically what we try to do is that we try to use different kinds of substrates, different kinds of residues, and we try to valorize them using exactly the same methodologies. And so we came up with results that point out that, for instance, pruning woods are more effective in terms of their antioxidant capability when compared to steams. And this is quite important for us because steams are always being referred within the references or in the general references that had high antioxidant capability. And so what came from the pruning wood is that they have an even higher antioxidant capability, and this is very important for us in terms of circular economy. On the second study, using the spent mushroom substrate, we got also an extract that we potentialized as the one assessing the most capability in terms of antioxidant capacity, but also we found out that this particular extract has an extraordinary effect on a bacteria, a specific bacteria, Pseudomonas aeruginosa. And if you don't know, this is one of the most multi-resistance bacteria that we can that we can come in contact with, especially into hospital environments, because she's multi-resistant. And so this result is most promising for us in order to use these extracts as a possible natural antimicrobial. We are also having some results coming from the extraction of apple and potato peels and rosemary and laurel leaf extracts in order to isolate what we call botanic volatile compounds, because they also have a huge effect in terms of its antimicrobial capabilities or capacities, because they have basically 5 or 6 ways in which they can modulate our immunitary system, but we still don't have any concrete results regarding this subject. It's ongoing work still. Again, another of the things that we are studying within this work package is that we are working with onion peels as well, basically because not only because of also of the volatile compounds, but mainly due to quercetin and the role that quercetin has, as you can see on that image on your right, especially as an antioxidant, but also avoiding hypertrophy and especially as a blood pressure controller. And we are still isolating these compounds as well, and still ongoing work, so no concluding remarks still regarding the substrate. In terms of impact of these areas that we are working with, of course that we have a lot of potential bioactive compounds coming from the different kinds of residues or byproducts that we can study. And so they may have a direct impact within the cosmetic industry, and they can be used, as you've seen from the first presentation given this morning by Professor Beatriz, if I'm not mistaken, in cosmetics, and they have a huge round of application, depending on what is it that we want to do with the substrate or the residue, or its potential concentration in terms of certain micronutrients and even phytonutrients as well. We also have a general idea that not only are we concerned with the cosmetics, but also within the pharmaceutical industry as a whole, all of these compounds that we are working with, or these residues, have a huge amount of applications. And this is just a graphic in order to elucidate you on onions, for instance, and on their peels, what they can have or what is being claimed that they might have in terms of human health. Going forward, it is also an issue that is very important to us, is that from these first 2 works that we have already published and all the other ones that are still ongoing, that we have a huge issue also to resolve within the worldwide environment. It's not only European, it's worldwide, which is the antimicrobial resistance. And as you can see from the graphic, by 2050, it will be the most expressive cause of death around the world. It will be the antimicrobial resistance. So all the studies that we're now conducting in order to create compounds that can easily substitute antibiotics is of the utmost importance. Not only for humans, but also for animals, because the One Health concept is fundamental here, and we should take it into account, okay? Because most of these compounds are also being used in animal production, and so this is a huge issue for us here in our working group. It should be also highlighted that also part of these compounds can be used as nutraceutical compounds, as growth promoters, okay, in terms of animal feed supplements, but also they can also modulate the natural bacterial population that they have in their gastrointestinal tract, and that is also one of the issues that we are studying, but is also ongoing work. Finally, we also are studying the possible utilization of different kinds of extracts obtained from different residues as biofilms, as biodegradable biofilms that can be used to use as packages of different kinds of food. And so this is also one of the work that we have already been published, and it comes from extracts obtained from olive leaf and olive leaf extracts that are now being used and have been characterized in terms of phenolic compound concentration, their antioxidant capacity as well as their antimicrobial activity. And after that characterization, they were basically mixed. I'm not going to talk about all of this, but they were mixed with other different kinds of compounds in order to make biofilms that can be used to package different types of feeds. And then those biofilms were analyzed and they were compared. And from what we could see from these results is that using these leaf extracts, okay, have a huge advantage in terms of the films that we are producing, both in terms of thickness, tensile strength, elongation at break, and also elasticity. And this is of the utmost importance when we are working with biofilms. It should be stated that we also have other types
Miguel,
of...
you are on time.
Okay, sorry, about 1 minute, okay? Other types of extracts that we are using, normally coming from the beetroot, betaline, in order to produce color films with antioxidant capacity, and also chitosan coming from seafood exoskeletons. So to finalize, the importance of these biofilms are stated here, more or less as a resume. And of course, we have all the renewable of biopolymers, the composite films with good stability, and the barrier that they create both as an antioxidant or antimicrobial compound. But there is another issue of the utmost importance, which is when we look at these packages, we should be aware that the problems that we have now with plastics have led to issues in which these microplastics are even being detected in the human placenta. So it means that all the work that we are developing with these biodegradable biofilms is very important. Finally, and only 50 seconds just to tell you that within this work package, we are not only concerned about the development of these products, but also with the possibility that we have in order to follow up the rules defined by the European Union after 1927 in order to create novel foods or novel foodstuffs. And we are using this legislation in order to create or to evaluate the possibility to create new products. And this is it. I will not present. Okay, thank you very much. And sorry for that confusion in the beginning of the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel. Now you can stop sharing, please.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. So we are at the end. I would like to thank all the speakers for your excellent communications. In fact, when we end this webinar with such interesting works, in this case, we can see, in fact, that the valorization of food matrices that are not consumed and the valorization of byproducts is a very good way to reduce waste, giving an added value for different industries, just like for food, pharmaceutical and cosmetic industries. and also to be applied in soil, just like David has explained. So, and also for animal feeds. So I think that we have here a lot of things to discuss. I would like to say that David needed to leave. So if anyone has any question for David, he asks to that contact by email. I can write here in the chat the email that David has. I ask to the speakers to connect the camera, please. And we have a lot of questions in the chat, so I'll try to manage what we have here in the chat firstly, and then we move on to the questions that the other people have. So firstly, our keynote speaker was Professor Beatriz Oliveira, and she really made an amazing resume for all the applications that we can have from the byproducts. And we have here some questions for Professor Beatriz, but I think that Professor Beatriz has already answered for some of them, but I will tell for the people that are not looking at the chat. And the first one was, if Professor Beatriz, if you have the experience in valorizing coffee wastes, and Professor Beatriz has already talked about that. Professor, do you want to say something else about the coffee wastes?
Yes, we have. In our research group, we have two main research lines. One is with olive pomace, the other with coffee residues. So we have a lot of work, but I need to choose one line, and my line is olive pomace. As I say in the chat, I can send papers and information about our work, or if the professor or are interested, you can change message, and
maybe we can share your email.
Yes.
with participants, and if they want to see your work in coffee waste, maybe you can share your knowledge. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. One of the topics that is also in the chat, it's really important to understand, is what the Professor Beatriz also told in her presentation, is that we have a lot of problems with the scale-up and the industry acceptance of our works, because we work a lot in this area of valorization of byproducts, for example, and try to give an added value, for example, for the cosmetic or for pharmaceutical industry, but then we don't have the acceptance from the industry. And Professor Beatriz has talked about that, and we need to move on. One of the questions is about the TRL that we can obtain in this kind of works. In the case of Professor Beatriz, it's already in the industry, right, Professor Beatriz?
Yes, in the
yes, it's already
level.
Yes, it's in the higher level, because it's already in the industry. In some other cases, just like Professor Miguel has presented. Miguel, if you want to share with us, but some of these cases are not still in industry. We are still making some progress in this field.
Yes, we are still making some progress in this field. Because we still need to finish our animal trials in terms of toxicology or possible presence of other compounds, and we are using fish as a model, and so we are still waiting for these trials in order to be able to go further into this industry. Nevertheless, I should state that we are now cooperating with fish producers and also the industry of animal feed compound in order to produce a stable compound feed that can be then be used directly in terms of animal, at least in terms of animal nutrition. Yeah.
Yes, okay, thank you. Then we have here a question for Monica. Monica, what is your take on upcycling the grape stem before downcycling to produce an animal feed? It's one question for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, our experience is that animal feed producers are requesting new raw materials, because most of them come from America or I don't know, but they are requesting also for new materials. In our case, we have experience with free fish byproducts, coffee spent ground. We have also with winery byproducts, and all of them are very well. But the feed producers are happy with them, and even the person who deals with the animals. In the case of coffee spent ground, one producer are very happy because the cost goes to the feed that contains a part of spent ground.
Yes.
And this is important for them too. Not only,
yes.
And of course, all the ingredients are tested not only through the toxicology and some compounds, but also the digestibility and all things.
I would like to make you a question about the introduce of the grape stems in the ruminant diets, because you don't have any problem with the tannins and the astringents that this byproduct presents for the ruminants, because I work also with grape stems, but not in that topic. I work into the valorization of bioactive compounds, but one of the problems for the animal diet, it's the presence of tannins, because it promotes a very astringency.
Yes,
so I didn't realize that it was just like you presented to be incorporated in diet. The results are very interesting for sure, but they accept very well, the animals to these are accepting this diet.
Yes, of course, but take it into account that this only 10% of the final feed is from that type of ingredients. Yes. So this is not a problem. And another part is in the video I had prepared, but in another part, you can see that the process to valorize grape stem has several steps. One of them is to clean with water, because you can recover things like polyphenols and sugars that don't end in the final ingredient. We recover previously to dry them.
To dry them. Okay.
Yes,
thank you so much. And I have another, just a comment for Estelle. You don't have the same problems that we have because you apply for a different kind of industries. So the problems that we have about the toxicological assays and everything that is related for treatment of skin or for development of new foods, you don't have that problems, right?
It's still an interesting question for the biosurfactants, especially the novel to market biosurfactant, where we need a rich application. So it's still important to take that into consideration. So the ecotoxicity and some toxic also tests, but we try to stay out of the animal test, because you cannot then use that in the cosmetic industry. So indeed, it's still an important thing, but
it's important, but it's not so exhaustive, just like we
especially
need
from the food waste, because the conversion of food waste goes to sugar, and then it's the fermentation. So basically, we are not using or analyzing anything from the food waste, from the feedstock itself. So that's an advantage of our value chain indeed.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know if there are any more questions. Luminita, can you please help me?
No, we have no other questions in the chat. If people still want to contact the speakers, please, you can do it by email or send us the questions and we will try to forward them to our speakers.
And we don't have any other questions from the participants? We just have a few minutes yet. No, if not, Juan, are you still here?
Yes, definitely.
So maybe you can join me for the end of this webinar. If you agree, I will start.
Yeah, sure, but I don't know why I don't see my,
Yes, you don't have camera.
Yeah, but I have the camera open. I don't know. But I don't know.
Okay.
Because it's open. In any case.
Some technological problems. So in the name of the coordination of the Wasteless project, I would like to thank you all, particularly to Luminita, Sofia, and Anna from the Follow project. Of course, Juan also for all these organization. Thanks for all the participants. Thanks for all the communications, for all the speakers. It was really two interesting 2 days that we could share knowledge, but we could also see how important it is to have this kind of connection. And we are not presential, but be online, we can also learn a lot and share knowledge. And I have already received a lot of emails trying to make some collaborations, and it's really important that we have this kind of activities. So in the name of the Wasteless project, and I think that Juan is going to say almost the same thing for the Follow, I would like to thank you all. And from my side, very, very good acknowledging, very high acknowledge to Sofia and Luminita for the all organization, all the contacts, and everything that was associated with this webinar. So thank you so much, Juan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anna, for the words. To not repeat myself, I do not repeat what Anna said, just thank you very much, especially to Luminita and Sofia. Of course, thank you very much to all the people that has attended to the webinar. Hopefully it has been interesting for you, and it has been a pleasure both for Wasteless and Follow project to organize and to lead this webinar. And well, I would just like to finish encouraging you in contacting us if you think we can collaborate together in any of the projects that we are running. And of course, we will try to do the same with you if we think there is potential collaborations that are always very fruitful. So thank you very much, and we keep in touch and we see each other in other opportunities. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you, Luminita and Sofia. If you want to, please say something.
Yes, I wanted also to say thank you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Juan, for your contribution, for moderating these sessions. Thank you to all the speakers for accepting to be part of this webinar. And thank you to my colleague Sofia, because she did the logistic and organizing, keeping contact with all the participants and the speakers. And Follow Wasteless and Follow projects to be aware of the next events we are organizing. Thank you very much and wishing you all the best.